This is actually an interesting question because it's testing something that's very fundamental to how probability works, but it's not something that I guess most people would encounter just in normal studying for the SAT. It's just not tested very often. So let's take a look at the question. At a movie theater, there are a total of 350 customers. Each customer is located in either Theater A, Theater B, or Theater C. If one of these customers is selected at random, the probability of selecting a customer who is located in Theater A is 0.48, and the probability of selecting a customer who is located in Theater B is 0.24. How many customers are located in Theater C? So the 0.48, the 0.24, another way to think of that is 48% of the customers are in Theater A, 24% of the customers are in Theater B. So maybe that is kind of just how naturally your brain is going to convert these probabilities. But another way to think of it is that the total probability, when we have decimals, total probability for any situation is always equal to 1. So if we have the probability of A, right, so the A's probability is 0.48, we have B's probability at 0.24. If we did some subtraction, we would get the probability of C. So let's just go to the calculator and do that, and that way we can kind of get that in that direct way. There are other ways to solve this question, but I'm going to do it this way just to make this point stick. So 1 minus 0.48 minus 0.24, regular calculator, is 0.28. And we can see why maybe choice A exists now, as that's a little bit of a trap, right? We're not quite done. That is the probability, but what we want to know is how many customers there are. So another way to think of it is that it is like a way of making a proportion as well. So we were talking about probability, but it's also a proportion. So what we can do now is we can say, okay, if we take the 350 total people, that means that 28% of them are going to be in Theater C. So we multiply. So 0.28 times 350 is 98. And that's the answer. So this is a really good question because it's not particularly hard, but I think a lot of people are going to struggle with it because they just aren't familiar with these topics. They're not things you're learning in school very much, and it just feels like there's an elaborate story here. But I think that let's just review the things to take away. Number one is that all probabilities are going to always add up to 1 or 100%, depending on how you want to think of it. So you can use that to your advantage. If they give you a probability of some event, then the probability of that event not happening is 1 minus, right? So we're kind of using that here is in order to find C, we're getting rid of the A and the B probabilities. There is no Theater D, right? There's no other event that we're not accounting for here. So everything that's left over is C. And then this other idea, we might sometimes call this expected value, something like that. But basically, right, when we have a probability, it's basically a percentage, it's basically a proportion, and we can use that to find what proportion of a population we are dealing with, we are covered. So that idea of multiplying is also something that could come up on other questions. But probability as a whole is not something that comes up very often on the SAT, so if it is a weaker topic for you, it's not going to cost you a lot, but most of the most commonly tested ideas in probability are fairly basic things to memorize, so hopefully this question just reviews those for you.